Tonight I'm going to make Jamaican beef patties with homemade crust. Hopefully they'll turn out. I'm going to do it in my new Christmas present, which was a new Cuisinart. So I'm actually excited to try and use this. So right there's 4 cups of flour, half a cup of shortening, half a cup of salted butter. The recipe called for unsalted, but I'm just going to add less salt in the recipe. And some water and curry powder. It's going to call for a tablespoon of curry powder. I might do a heaping one because we like it. Okay, let's start this. Pour the flour in here. It says do it by hand, but right now I'm not going to do that. So the curry powder. Get this to a little bit more. And I'm going to pause for a second and try and put the salt in because I need 2 hands. Sorry, I needed 2 hands to use the Himalayan salt grinder. And then I scooped out the shortening out of the container and then taking out the butter. Our butter comes in blocks instead of sticks. And there's marks on it, conveniently, that you can cut a 1/4 cup, half cup, 1 cup. And then I'm going to put the lid on and add water until it's crumbly. Okay, now I'm going to press it on. Let's see what it does there. Turn on the little hole part here so I can slowly put some water. It says 5 tablespoons. Let's see. 1, 3, 4. Might be more because I don't really measure too well the flour, so it might be off by a little bit. Starting to there. Add some more. And this is the dough coming out of the mixer. So now I'm just supposed to make this into a ball, then put it in the fridge for an hour. So now I am going to cook up 2 pounds of meat. I'm doubling the insides of the recipe as I want to make more pastry probably tomorrow and then freeze some. And I put 2 purple onions in the food processor and chopped them up. They did them really, really fine, so it'll be nice and good. There we go, starting to cook up. Brown the meat before we add the spices. The recipe does say to drain, but there won't be much liquid in here since I'm using, I believe it's extra lean ground beef. So, and then it says to add like a cup of beef broth to add moisture to this. I'm just going to leave the juices in and follow the other seasonings. So I'm kind of straying from the recipe a little bit, and you work with what you've got. I was going to use some za'atar seasoning, which has thyme and other herbs, thyme, sesame seeds, sumac, wheat, and spices, salt and oil. But then I found my thyme, so I'm going to use that instead. And then I'm going to use steak spice instead of the salt and pepper, just to add it a little bit more beefy flavor. So now I'm just checking all the meat is brown before I add spices that I won't be able to see if it's brown or not. I'm not measuring the spices, I'm just winging it, but I will put a link to the recipe below and you can measure the spices. It's all about taste, so if you've ever had a Jamaican patty and you taste the filling and it needs more curry or it needs more salt or it needs more hot pepper, just be careful. You can't take away heat, but you can always add more, and you can't really take away salt, so I try not to add too much. That's why I like the steak spice, because it gives a nice flavor of spice. Not that side. There we go. Good. That in. And I didn't have Scotch bonnet peppers, but I did have some other hot red peppers, so I chopped those up and de-seeded them. Be careful when you're using fresh hot peppers to either wear gloves, which I strongly recommend, like latex gloves, and chop them, de-seed them, and then wash your hands thoroughly, or just make sure you wash your hands with lots of soap and water, because last thing you want to do is rub your eye with a hand that touched hot peppers, because it will hurt. Believe me, I've done it. And I'm going to use some already pre-minced garlic that I got from the dollar store for $1.25. I'm just going to get a little bit, because it said 5 cloves, and I just didn't want to mince that right now. I was running low on time to make supper, and this is going to be for supper. And then cayenne, so that would not open. So this one's open. I like things spicy, as you can see with my hot sauces there. And then in my kitchen I built, I just got my kitchen renovated, and I built a floor-to-ceiling spice pantry, which I have a whole hot spice drawer and hot sauces. See all of the hot sauces and spices. That's just my hot sauces, and it goes floor to ceiling spices. This is my normal spices drawer. This is my Asian spices and my Indian spices, spice mixes that I buy for like $1 to give me inspiration. And then this is just my kind of kitchen junk drawer. And then I have lots of some canning lids and stuff here. And then over here some more spices and my bottles of thing. And anyways, back to this. Got sidetracked. Now it's chili flakes and some thyme. Okay, it's not coming out that holder will. Thyme is a popular spice in the Caribbean. Almost all the dishes call for it. But if you don't have thyme, if you have a mixed spice like Italian seasoning, which has thyme in it, use that. It just will have other flavors as well. I'm going to add my curry powder. I haven't had time to put some in one of my jars because I ran out. So I'm using the stuff in the bag. As you can see, I'm accurately measuring, just going by looks. And it's not a spicy curry powder, it's one from Walmart. If I was using one from the Asian market or the Indian market or something like that, I definitely have to watch out because those things are spicy. Same with those Indian curry packets for different curries. I only follow the recipe on there about half the amount. So instead of one packet making one meal, it makes at least 2 or 3 because even from my spiciness, it's spicy. And now I'm going to add soy sauce. I have this really big bottle of soy sauce, so I have to be careful. 1, 2, 3. There. 4. So I'm doubling the recipe. And it says add 3 tablespoons or teaspoons, whatever. It's to add a bit of salt to it now. I'm going to get a spoon and taste it and see what it needs. It's got some heat, but it needs more curry. I'm adding more curry. Oh. There we go. And there's the filling. So afterwards, what I'm not going to video is rolling out the dough and filling one of these because I need 2 hands to do that, and I don't have a way to put the camera to videotape that. So there we go. I just sliced up a bunch of little potatoes, some red, some regular, that I had left over sitting in my potato drawer, and they were starting to get a little bit old, so I decided to slice them up, and I'm going to make a kielbasa, or however you say that word, that meat, the coil, and potato bake for supper. And there'll be lots left over for lunch too. So I slice up the potatoes however you want. I just decided to be lazy and use my new Cuisinart as it's a toy now. Now I'm going to add oil to here. Toss it up so they can all get a bit of oil and some gets to the bottom so it doesn't stick. And then I'm going to use this Za'atar Georgian blend, which is just basically sesame seeds, thyme, sumac, wheat, spices, salt, and oil. So it wouldn't be good if you're gluten-free, but basically it's thyme and, you know, basically an Italian seasoning, but with some other herbs as well. And then I'm putting some garlic powder. And I'm going to toss that. Make sure it's nice and coated. Couple fell off onto my counter. And then I'm going to put some steak spice for the salt pepper aspect of it. Yeah, good thing it's little holes. Or else I would have had a whole more pepper in there than I wanted to have. Now I'm going to take the cut up kielbasa. It's the like Polish sausage meat. I cut into little bite-sized pieces. I had bought a big coil at Costco for like $9 before Christmas. And we've been having it with some meat, cheese, and crackers, or that. It's also really good with beans and cabbage. But I decided to try and have it with potatoes today. This is the first time I'm trying this. I've done the potatoes before diced, but not with meat with it. So I'm just winging it. Usually it's just the potatoes. And now I put the meat in. And then I'll put it in the oven for about 350 until they're done. I'll put a little bit of water in here just so that it helps steam the potatoes. Alright, I'll put some there, just a little bit of water. And there we go. I'm going to have this with the Jamaican patties. They'll be in the oven in a minute. And Caesar salad. And here is the Jamaican patties done. I've done 4 so far. And I'm putting an egg wash around the edges to help seal them. That's what the recipe says. And they're not as pretty as the picture because this is real life. And I know that the filling tastes good because my daughter came in and tasted it. They're saying she was hungry. So now I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15-20 minutes, and I'll make some more. This I'm going to be having with that potato and kielbasa bake and Caesar salad. Bye. Also, I used this empty vodka bottle as my rolling pin because I couldn't find one. I believe the last time I made pie crust, I broke the rolling pin and I think it got thrown out. So, you use what you got, and maybe I'll get a new one sometime in the near future, but this works really well. And there's the finished Jamaican patties. Not as pretty as the picture, but looks so yummy and flaky. And that's about it. Enjoy. And here is the finished product. We each had a Jamaican patty and the potato and a bowl of Caesar salad as well. We have leftovers for the freezer, about 6 of them, and there's still leftover filling to make some more. Also had leftover the potato and kielbasa casserole for about 2 servings left over. It was very good. My family wants me to make it again. The dough was a bit crumbly, but I think I worked it too hard.